Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mebois Podcast. Glad to have you with us. My name's Josh,
And I'm Ray.
and today Ray is going to regale us with some tales of glory, aren't you, Ray?
Sort of.
Or, or
Uh,
something like that.
nah, none of them are quite that glorious. But I'll start with a couple days ago. Um, so the street from my house, the street I live on, it floods pretty easily,
Mm-hmm.
and it floods very quickly
Starting
too.
off pretty rough, Ray.
It floods pretty quickly.
The street from my house, I mean the street I live on. Right, it floods easily.
Yeah. So basically, everyone's driveway is on an incline and it goes up, so it builds
Yeah,
the water up pretty quickly. And then there's also an incline before the street, so basically it just makes this huge, not bowl, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm downstairs and my mom's not home, and she's asking me for help. She wanted me to copy some. She left her laptop at home, so she wanted me to email some files from her laptop to her email so that she could access it. As I'm helping her, I'm on the phone with her. I just hear like someone screaming outside, just bloody murder, like help me.
oh my God.
And I look out the window, and this lady, she's got like water up to her knees, a bit above her knees, and she's like hanging on to my gate because we all have gates, and she's like, help!
So, is like the water flowing or is it just standing still?
No, it's flowing. It flows.
Oh, okay.
But it's not. It's not. You know, an emergency. It was
Right,
kind of for her.
Cars aren't floating by.
No, but her car was in the middle of the flood. So what happened was she was driving through my street, and then she tried to drive through the flood, and it killed her car. Her car died.
Yeah, all that water probably got into the engine and everything.
So she can't get out. Her car is in the middle of the road. She has nowhere to go. So she's just hanging on for dear life at my gate, asking for help. Now, my mom's cousin is home, and she sees the lady. She runs upstairs to go tell my brother instead of going out to the lady.
Well, I tell your brother.
I don't know. She goes up to tell my brother, so they go down, and we let the lady in the house. She didn't want to go in. She just she felt bad enough because she was soaking
And then
wet.
she shakes off like a dog, and you're like, ah.
So she just waits outside for the flood to like go away, and her car is just in the middle of the flood. Later on, her son comes by because they live in the neighborhood, just not on that street.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna need a tow truck for this."
Yeah, right.
And then, I felt bad for the lady. Like, she's probably gonna have to pay a lot to fix her car, because the water reached all the way up to her seats. It's just
Yeah.
completely drenched.
Oh, yeah, so there's probably interior damage too.
Yeah, it's gonna smell like crap. It's gonna cost a lot. You have to hire a tow truck. All bad stuff. But I'm just wondering, like, as soon as you drive onto my street, there's that incline. You go over that incline, you'll be fine. So the thing was, she went over the incline, would have seen the flood, would have realized her car would not have made it into the flood, but she drove through anyway.
Yeah, she just decided to try.
Yeah, because I've had my friend visit, and when he was on his way, no rain. While he was on his way, started raining, started pouring. The flood came, and he calls me, he's like, dude, it's flooded. And then he tries driving through, and then a bit of water gets in his car, and he immediately backs off. This lady powered through.
Oh yeah, she had no time to waste, man.
Yeah, powered through, and then her car powered down. So
Should have brought the canoe, man.
that's what me and my friend were talking about. Like, oh, You should get a canoe anytime this happens, because the water is deep enough to go around in a little boat. But yeah, I just thought that was really funny how like she was screaming for her life. That makes me sound really bad. But I thought that was funny, just her hanging on to the gates as if she's like being pulled away by the water. And just that she didn't realize driving through it would have meant death for her car.
Sorry, I just had an interruption. Someone brought me a donut. Well, oh yeah, that car sounds terrible. I hate floods.
What's the deal with floods?
Just take the water and move it somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought I couldn't, like, I felt bad, but I couldn't feel 100% bad for her, just cause.
No, she made a bad move, man. It's like, it's funny to watch, especially when you see people make the decision. Like, if you're looking at someone and you know they're about to make like a really stupid decision just because they're in a rush, especially in the car. I feel like.
Yeah, cars definitely make it worse.
Yeah, like when you're watching someone who's about to make like a dangerous merge or something, and you know they're about to just jump out, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" And it's like watching a train wreck, basically.
Yeah, what is it about cars that just like?
Because we got those monkey brains, man, and like we're handling heavy machinery, and whatever it is about cars, it makes it only multiplies one emotion, and that's anger for some reason.
Yeah.
People get angry. People get reckless. People, we become like that when we're the most dangerous. When we're piloting several tons. But I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be like if you had pilots and their planes next to each other, just like flip each other off and yell at each other?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if air traffic was more
like car traffic.
Yeah, if it was like actually traffic, I'm sure you would get a lot of that.
Probably.
Although I'm sure it would just be more of like people dying.
Yeah, it'd be even worse because you genuinely have like 200 lives on your hands. The other story I had was I think I was in 8th or 9th grade. I had a math teacher, and she was just
smoking hot.
Just such a bitch.
Wow.
Yeah, no one liked her. So it was the first period, and we come in after homeroom, and class starts. So homeroom is 8 to 8:10, and then the first class is 8:15. So we get into class, we sit down, and then I just suddenly really had to go take a shit. Just one of those things, like
classic situation.
It's just one of those things, like suddenly it's an emergency.
Yeah.
And I raise my hand and I say, "Miss, can I go to the bathroom?" And she's like, "No, you just had 10 minutes to go to the bathroom. You have to wait."
She says, "I don't know. Can you?"
She said, "Yeah, you've had 10 minutes. Now you have to wait until the first period." It was a double period class, so you have to wait until the first period of class is over.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, fine. So it's just 45 minutes of me like moving around so I don't shit my pants.
Yeah.
And the whole time, everyone in class is noticing me, and they notice I have to go real bad. And I'm holding in. I'm like, at certain points, I was like leaning on the table and just lifting my ass in the air so I wasn't sitting down.
Does that help?
I was trying anything, man.
Get desperate.
Yeah, I was. Oh, it was bad. And every time we talk about this story, my friends, they're just like, "Dude, you should just shit in class." And that would have really taught her.
Oh, that would have showed her.
But yeah, it's just time is moving so slowly. I'm not getting any work done. And I'm just
right. Yeah, you can't.
No, I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, it's 9 o'clock. So I go up to her. And like, can I go now? And she's like, yeah. And I just bolted and I went.
I just shit right in front of her.
Bolted, went down. And as soon as I took a shit, my legs were shaking.
Fucking had an orgasm, dude. Just like,
it was just the biggest relief. And then I came back up. And the teacher's just like, did you just not manage your time well in homeroom, or did you really, really have to go? And I said, no, I just suddenly really, really had to go. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. She was a nightmare, dude. She used to be really anal about anal.
Hey.
Story. She used to be really anal about how we would set up our desks and like seating positions.
Like she didn't want you to shit on them.
I'm sure that was one thing too, but different teachers would use the same classroom, and anytime a different teacher would come in, they would change the sitting arrangement. So first thing she wanted us to do was arrange it the way she wanted it, which was basically it was basically 2 or 3 lines of desks, and everyone had to sit, and then you basically had a seating assignment kind of based on your grade. Like if you had good grades, you would have goodwill and you could sit further back, whereas if you had bad grades, you kind of had to sit more up.
I'm sure that didn't cause any conflict at all.
So she says, all right, I have to go this is beating class. She's like, I gotta go photocopy the tests, arrange the desks, and I'll be right back. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. We're all zoned out. We're all doing it very slowly. We're just arranging the desk. He's like, no, dude, she wants it this way. No, dude, it's like this. It's just the most tired.
Fucking smoke weed, dude.
She comes back and it's not done. And she fucking flips. And she's like moving the desks around really forcefully. And she's like, yeah, I'm pissed off.
Oh, is she British or something?
Australian.
Oh. Right, pissed off.
Oh, fuck off, cunt.
You ripper.
Oh, dude. There was that. She also had a cat. Really obsessed with him. We had
in class, or
she would mention him in class. I won't say the name because then it'll make it obvious who it is. I'm sure it's already obvious who it is by this point for people who know me. But
I won't say the name of the cat because I want to protect his privacy.
Yeah. But anyway,
it was Mittens.
No. She was leaving the school at one point, but she couldn't take the cat back to Australia. It's too expensive. Plus, she'd have to wait like 6 months or whatever. That's
how you know she doesn't fucking love the cat, because she says it's too expensive to take him out.
And it's 6 months and whatever. So she's asking students if anyone wants a cat, and she's like, oh yeah, he can only eat like really expensive food, like he won't.
So everyone was like, no.
Yeah. She was upset. We had a movie award, not like a movie festival thing for students, like student made films, and she worked with some of my classmates, and she made a movie for her cat. Her cat was the star.
That's a little weird.
All right. She also hated Americans.
Oh yeah, me too. Why did she hate Americans?
Just she doesn't like Americans. Like I remember she was like talking shit about Americans. Not necessarily talking shit, but just making it clear she doesn't like them. And then she asked the class, like, anyone here American? And I raised my hand because I have an American passport. And she's like, well, you're half, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. Like, you're Indonesian.
It's like that's legit just like straight up racist people.
Yeah.
Where they're like they'll talk shit about black people, but they'll have like a half black friend, and they're like, oh, and you're like, you're one of the good ones. Like, it's so fucking condescending. Like,
it is. And
oh my god.
It was. She was a nightmare. She. I heard I heard much later on that when she left, she actually didn't get a letter of recommendation from our school staff.
Good fucker. Us Americans don't want her.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were other Americans at the school, weren't there?
At the school, yeah, but in my class, I was the only one for a while.
No, but you're Indonesian.
There was actually another teacher. He was American. He married a Canadian, lived in Canada, so he had a Canadian passport. And then
she put a bomb in his car.
No, he would just talk about how Canada was better. It's weird, you know. I felt like I had to defend America, and I'm not fully American.
People are such staunch nationalists, man.
Yeah. Well, that guy wasn't. Because he was American.
That's because he's Canadian. Fuck him.
Yeah.
So what made you think of that story?
Hang out with friends and reminisce. People bring shit up. She's like
Did I ever talk about...
What?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say she was like one of two bad teachers I had. So it's easy to remember because everyone else is pretty okay. Like there some teachers who were like I would have specific instances where it was an issue, but like two were just problems all the time. And those two didn't get letters of recommendation from the principal.
It's because I'm the principal. That's right. Well, who was the other one that you didn't like?
It was also a math teacher, but she taught high school.
So this other one was middle school?
Yeah, I think it was 8th grade. The one where she didn't let me take a shit. This other one was.
It was all in the same school, right?
Yeah, it's all in the same school. Middle school was this one. High school was this one. The high school one, she was British, and she was just a bad teacher, basically. Like, it was the sort of teacher that doesn't really adapt to students. Like, she had her one way, and it really didn't
she
work.
Stuck to the syllabus.
Yeah, it didn't work for anyone really. Like, there are students who passed obviously and did well, but not necessarily because of her. I remember me and two other friends. We used to just draw in class,
mm-hmm.
and they would draw on a separate sheet of paper and hide it if she came around. I drew it on the same notebook, just way deep inside.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes to us because we're giggling, and she's like, "What are you guys doing? Are you guys actually doing any work?" And she takes my notebook and like flips through it and sees all the drawings, and she's like, "Is this your math work or is this any old book?" And I'm like, "Oh no, it's an old book. She gave me the out, so I took it."
Yeah, I used to draw all the fucking time in school, man.
Yeah, dude.
Although people generally didn't give a shit.
Yeah, for the most part, she didn't notice us. We were quiet about it. Just that one time we were giggling.
One time she asked me if this was my math book, and that's why I hate her.
No, it's obviously other stuff. But her, it was mostly just bad teacher. The other one, she was just bad person.
Damn.
I met her like years later. She came by to visit, and
we hooked up.
No, that'd be weird. I was underage.
Nothing weird about that. But yeah, I just remember, especially in high school, like I used to just draw all the time because I started getting like really into like sort of like tattoo design kind of things. Like I really like just using like the black gel pens and just like going crazy with that. And I would either do it in like notebooks or whatever. I would just like draw on myself. And normally teachers didn't really give a shit. More so the people who gave a shit was just like other annoying students who would like come over and be like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
You just start drawing on them. Oh, here, want to see? That'd be funny though. Like you're drawing tattoo designs, and then you just go on to another student as they're studying, just drawing tattoos on their arms.
It's free, man. It's free. Your shitting story just reminded me of my Cadoba experience.
Oh yeah, you want to let everyone know?
You want to air out your laundry for everybody? Yeah, I don't think I've told this story yet.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's not super interesting, but to keep it short, on our campus when I was an undergraduate, um, a Cadoba opened up. It's basically like a Chipotle, right? That's how I
Essentially,
describe it.
except the guac is free.
The guac is free. Very, very important point. Although I never have guacamole. I was about to say guacamole, which is a game. I never have guacamole. um, but so we went there a good number of times, and this one time I went, I had they stopped serving this since then. I'm sure it's unrelated, but they stopped serving. They had like it was like Diablo sauce, or like it was
Is it the Diablo queso?
yeah. So it's just like really spicy cheese sauce or whatever. So I had it. I think that day I had it like on a burrito or something,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had the burrito, good stuff. And I live like, so I have to take a train, and then I have to walk like 20 minutes to my house from campus. So I ate that, and like I'm starting to feel like a little bit like I gotta take a shit, but it's sort of like I don't want to have to go into a building and then like do that and then take the train home, whatever. I'm like, I can just go home and make it. I'll be fine. And so like I get on the train, and right away I know I've made a mistake, because like you just start to get that feeling where you know it's serious, and I'm like, oh god, and it's fucking terrible when you're like on a train or something like that where you're like stuck and there's a lot of people around. And I'm just like, dear Lord, like when you start praying to a God you don't believe in. I didn't pray, but
You should have.
it's like maybe I should have. Maybe it would have turned out better for me. But like, yeah, it's like the kind of shit where it's like your asshole starts to fucking hurt by like how hard you're clenching, basically. Like, oh, it just like it's such a bad experience. It's like one of the worst sensations in the world is having the shit really bad and not being able to. And so like you go through like waves. There's like waves of like
Diarrhea.
if you hold it in long enough. Yeah, all over the subway walls. If you like hold it in long enough, sometimes like you get like that rumble in your gut, and then you're okay for a second. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So like every now and then it's like okay, but like yeah, it's like I'm struggling, and so eventually I get off the train, and I'm still like 20 minutes from my house, and it's always it's a conundrum, because you're like, so should I try to run? That'll be faster, but it'll probably make it worse.
It loosens up everything.
Yeah. But it's like, well, if I walk, it's gonna take longer. Can it last that long? I don't know. So like, I was doing like power walks, half trying to jog. Like, meanwhile, I've got like my back like straight up. I'm like walking like I got something up my ass probably. Another classic when you gotta take a shit is that as soon as I get into my street, and as soon as I see my house, like my body knows it's game time.
Yeah.
So it's like all the struggle that I've been putting into this, it just doesn't matter anymore, because all of a sudden my body's like, all right, it's time, man. I don't know why that is. That just when you see your house, you're like, okay. But I'm like, oh god, so I'm like rushing, and yeah, so like I'm rushing. I've got these Nike shorts on, and since I'm telling you what I'm wearing, I'm guessing you can sort of tell how it goes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I get in my house, I rush up the stairs, I get into the bathroom, and I close the door, and then just like sort of like when I saw my house, my body was like, it's go time. I got into the bathroom, I looked at the toilet, and then I fucking shit myself. Dude, like, and like I've got shorts on, right? So, like, I fucking shit myself, and it like falls down, like hits the back of my ankle and shit. And like, I'm so disgusted, but I'm paralyzed. And it's just like, oh my God. It was fucking gross, dude. Like, I was about to describe the consistency, but I don't think I need to go into that kind of detail. But it's just like, it was the worst thing because I was right there, and I think it was just like the relief that I felt that I was like finally like in the bathroom.
Your body
It's
just
just
stopped
like
clenching and everything just
yeah,
went
it's just
out.
like yeah, I stopped being in overdrive. But yeah, like I mean, luckily, you know, I was in my bathroom, so I could just like fucking take a shower afterwards or whatever. But like, I tried to save those shorts. There was no saving them. Those shorts were fucked up, dude. Like, it was so fucking gross. Like, it got on my shoes and shit.
Could you save the shoes?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, the shoes were fine. But like, oh my God. Like, I don't think even as a kid I ever had an experience that bad. And this was me as like, I don't know, like a 20 or 21-year-old man. Yeah, that was really fucked. And then like shortly after that, like probably like within the next week, Qdoba stopped selling the Diablo sauce.
They knew.
They knew, man. They had enough complaints about people shitting themselves. And it's not even like, oh, you know, the food was like really spicy, I just couldn't handle it. Like, I didn't really think anything of it. But it's just like all of a sudden I really fucking had the shit.
I don't remember their food being particularly spicy at all.
No. And like spicy food doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
But whatever was in that sauce, man.
Got it.
Get lost in the sauce.
He just pooped sauce.
Yeah. It was just straight up. Yeah, it's just like the yellow fucking sauce. That would be maybe slightly less gross. I don't know. I think I'd probably be a lot more shocked. If your diet consists of entirely cheese sauce.
Did I ever tell you my friend's shitting himself story? Because it's similar to yours.
I'm not sure.
Well, he was with a mutual friend.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if I say mutual friend, it's like a mutual friend of ours. A mutual friend of me and the guy who shit himself.
Josh is not friends with this person, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, he doesn't know this person. Anyway, they're at a mall. I think they just watched a movie. I can't remember. It was probably 2007, 2008. We were in middle school. And my friend, he has to go take a shit.
The housing crisis, yeah.
So he goes. He really has to go. I can't remember why he didn't go. Like what the holdup was for him, the situation. I can't remember what exactly it was. But he runs to the bathroom, but he doesn't make it. Actually, I don't think he was in the bathroom when he you know.
Oh God.
But he went to the bathroom. He texted the friend. He's like, "Hey, can you bring me a plastic bag?"
Oh, I think you did tell me this story. Keep going, man.
I can't remember if he had like change on him or if he asked the friend to buy him some shorts or something. But he asked for a plastic bag. He put all the dirty clothes in the plastic bag, and then he wanted to save the clothes, so he didn't want to chuck it. So, and they were about to watch a movie. That's what it was. They were about to watch the movie.
Oh God.
And he didn't want to lose the shorts or whatever pants he was wearing, so he just kind of placed it under the escalator. He placed it under there.
It's
And then
such a
he's
weird
like,
thing to do.
yeah, it is. He's like, I'll come back for it. They watch the movie, they come back, and it's gone. And then you could tell from like the the wet marks on the floor, it was recently mopped.
Oh my god.
But it's just
Like, yeah, it's terrible because at least in my circumstance, like I was in my house
yeah.
and like in my bathroom, so it's just like the worst thing about it was just the shorts, really. But that is like you're in public. You still gotta catch that movie though.
Yeah.
You know what the movie was?
I can't remember at all. Nah, no idea. But that's the escalator thing is just really odd to me.
Yeah, putting it under an escalator, like it's a pretty open area, really.
Yeah.
Just people going by that escalator just smell shit. Like, what the fuck is that? As I've gotten older, it's sort of like
It keeps happening.
yeah, I just can't control my bowels anymore. Sort of like I used to care, like I wouldn't use like public restrooms or whatever because I'm like, oh, they're nasty. I don't want to do that. And plus, like other people in there or whatever. But as I've gotten older, like I just don't care about that shit anymore. Probably in part because of experiences like this, where it's like,
when you gotta go,
I don't care. I'm gonna go. Like, I don't care.
Were you the one that told me about the guy in Penn Station?
Oh yeah,
it was right. It was you.
It's like
it was
that's
you.
The thing is like if you the Penn Station shit bandit. I just hang out in the public bathroom to steal people's shit. Well, that's the thing is like, because so many of these situations, I feel like, you know, if you just used a bathroom that you didn't want to use, you'd be fine. But people like keep putting it off until it's like a fucking emergency. So one time I was in, I think it was Penn Station, New York, and
definitely Penn Station, New York.
I had to use the bathroom, and I think I was gonna be walking around New York or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, let me just take care of this, even though like Penn Station is like probably one of the bathrooms that I would not want to use.
No, dude, it's
like,
so nasty.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I think I only had to take a piss. So I was like completely, like if I have to take a piss, like I'll go anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't care. I'll get public urination charges. It's fine.
Just pee on the cops.
Yeah. Just start pissing on their shoes.
You pig.
Start pissing on the police dog. Mark my territory. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, whatever. I could take a piss in here. It's fine. But there's like a real long line. So I'm like, okay, I just get in the line. And like, it's pretty normal as I'm going in, I think. I'm just waiting in line. We get in there. And the first thing that was odd was that the urinals are like very high.
Yeah, they are
like,
pretty high.
Like irregularly high. Because like I'm not a tall man, but like these urinals are like a good foot or more higher than what I'm used to. So like literally like I've almost got like my balls resting on the bottom rim.
Ugh.
And that's just disgusting, let me tell you. But
Yeah,
I'm like on my tiptoes, basically. Oh yeah, you don't want my balls touching anything. It's disgusting. But so I'm like, okay, that's really fucking weird. But you know, take care of business. And then as I'm heading out, like there's like a hallway in between Penn Station and the bathroom. So there's like a line through the hallway. And so as I'm leaving out, the line is on the left, and on the right, there's this guy who's like leaning against the wall, and he looks distressed, and I'm like, oh, what is this? And so like as I'm walking by, I see that like the back of his pants are just like completely shit covered, and like so is the wall, and he's just like leaning. You know, if you ever seen like a painting of like a biblical scene where someone's being tormented, you know, and they were like leaning in a weird way. Yeah. That's basically how he was. Like he was looking like Christ nailed to the cross, honestly. And I'm just like, I walk by him, and as I'm walking by him, I realize that. I'm just like, oh, God. And, like, he's waiting in line.
Dude,
that's just disgusting.
That story came back to me the other day because I was talking to my friends. I have a couple friends, they went to school in Seattle, and I had one that visited New York. And then, I can't remember how we got to the conversation, but I think we were talking about Penn Station, or we were talking about Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, oh, which one's Madison Square? I'm like, oh, it's the one, like... Oh, he's like, which one's Penn Station? I'm like, oh, it's the one right under Madison Square Garden. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that train station is just really bad. I don't think it's... Newark Penn Station might be a little worse. But I remember one time I was walking in the front entrance of New York Penn. And I'm going down the escalator on the right side. And as I'm going down, and I'm with my friend who's visiting from Australia. And we're going down. And then I see in the corner of my eye, this guy, he has his head, like, on a corner of a wall. Like, sort of how when a dog just leans his head against the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got his head like that. He's got a big-ass jacket on him. His pants are down. And I just see him furiously masturbating.
Against the wall?
Yeah. With his head leaning, like it's on the wall.
That's a mood, dude.
Like,
that's a whole mood.
I'm just like, oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
At least he's being respectful and he's facing the wall.
Yeah. It was also, like, under an escalator, like my friend.
I don't know what it is with people doing dark deeds under escalators.
And, like, right across from him, like, masturbating is a Zaros.
Oh, I thought you meant when you said across from him masturbating. I thought someone else was masturbating.
No. There's a Zaros bakery, like, on the other side.
He's just looking in the window, like... Yeah, that's all over the place, though, because, like, this one time I was walking into... I was with a couple of girls from work, and I was walking into Newark Penn Station, and as we're walking in, I'm just talking to him or whatever, and I look up, and I see this guy standing behind a garbage can, and I'm like, all right, and he's looking a little rough. It's like this old dude who doesn't look quite all there, and so I look at him, and then I look down, and he's just got his dick out, and I'm just like, oh, come on, man. Also, he's got like the palest dick I've ever seen. He's not like hard or anything. Like, he's just got his flaccid dick out. I don't know if he was pissing. I didn't really take time to investigate. But it's just like in the middle of my conversation, I look and there's a dick. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, you got me. But yeah, that's
a
all
mood.
over. Yeah. Having your limp dick out at Newark Penn Station. That's the name of my album, actually. And, like, he was right by the area that there's always cops and stuff, too, so I don't know what the fuck. And people were, like, standing around him like it was nothing. I don't know.
Limp Dick Out could also be a parody band of Limp Bizkit.
Oh, yeah, sure. Although Limp Bizkit is kind of a parody of Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's like this whole area. I mean, the New York thing just reminded me of I was going to like a conference or something in New York, and I was with this girl, and we were getting out of the subway, and she was talking about like how much she loves New York or whatever, and like how great it is. And like as we're getting out of the subway, the whole fucking street just smells like shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I fucking hate New York.
Man, it's the only place where you romanticize the smell of shit and piss.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Although to be fair, when I went to Paris, there was a good amount of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Yeah, I remember when my friend was visiting from Australia. Some guy fell down the stairs at a subway station.
He pissed himself.
He could have. It was a pretty big fall. And this guy's like, I think he broke his glasses on his fall.
Mm-hmm.
And so she went to go help him. And I guess after hanging around the city, that's kind of weird.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
You know, because no one was helping this guy up because he was also bleeding and everything. You don't want to touch him.
I mean, yeah, that is a thing.
Yeah, it was weird things like that. Like I noticed a bit of my attitudes to a few things kind of changed after like being on the New York subway. Like at first, like whenever people came to sing, I was like, "Oh, cool," you know, it was new. And then fast forward like a year, I'm just like, "Fuck off."
Man, like that just. I mean, we've talked about this before, but the whole thing is just like the Louis bit.
Which one?
Which is it too soon to bring up Louis again? But
Nah,
the one where he's talking about he had like a cousin or something visiting from like a rural area, and as they're walking by a homeless person, she's like, "Oh my God, can I help you?" And Louis like, "No, we don't do that."
Yeah. It's exactly like that. It's like it's your attitude just changes once you kind of hang around the city a bit.
Yeah, I mean, once you realize that there's so many people that you can't help, it's sort of like, okay, I'm not gonna help anybody.
Yeah, I remember I had this book my cousins gave me because they're New Yorkers, and they gave me this book, and it's like How to Be a New Yorker or something. Just one of those like comedy books. This woman moved to New York, and she was from the South. I can't remember where exactly. She hung around, and then her cousin came to visit one time, and she had been in the city a few years already. And they witnessed a mugging.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cousin's like, "Oh my God, should we help?" And then two people passing by started laughing. Now I don't know if this is true or, but it's like it just describes that attitude.
Everybody started laughing, and then they mugged me, and then everyone clapped.
But yeah, like I was on the subway once with my cousin, and we were sitting across from each other because it was pretty full. And I was sitting down, and there was we stopped, and a few people got off, and there was this group of 3 people, a guy and 2 girls, and the guy asked me to move to a different seat down there on the same bench, but it wasn't like a shift I could move. You know, I had to get up and move.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, buddy, can you move so that my friend can sit with her friend?" And I was just like, "How dare you?"
Do you know who I am?
It was a weird thing. Like, I don't know what it was, but that was one of the things I was like, oh. But I felt like I was still right. Like, it's weird to ask someone to move. I did move. But I feel like if the seat is far away, that's not when you ask someone to move. If it's like a shift, then sure. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, especially like if they're not somebody who has like priority to the seats.
Right, yeah. These were high school kids or college kids. Same age as us.
Yeah, fuck them.
It was more... My cousin looked at me, and this was how I felt like I was vindicated, too, because he was just like, that guy wanted you to move so he could impress the pretty girl by asking you to move.
Yeah, right. Are you saying that a high school girl is pretty?
No, the guy wanted to impress I don't know, the girl.
Yeah, I got it. Just talking about New York is reminding me of this. Just how much a lot of the things about New York that I really dislike. But I was with that same person that I was going to the conference to. We were supposed to go to the Comedy Cellar, and on the train over, I was like, "Yeah, and you got your ID, right? Because like they're gonna ID you, obviously." And she's like, "Oh, no, I don't think I have my ID." I'm just like, ugh. Okay. So he didn't go to the Comedy Cellar. But Which is so, like, who the fuck doesn't have an ID with them at all times? Like, I don't know. That seems stupid to me. But
She was old enough to drink, though, right?
Yeah, she doesn't drink, but she was old enough to. It's just like they ID everybody coming in. I think you needed to be over 21 to get in to the Comedy Cellar.
Well, because I was going to say, like, if you are over 21 and you do drink, you're probably going to bring your ID with you all the time anyway, usually.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's why she didn't care to bring it out. Even when I didn't, well, I mean, I drank before I was 21 and nobody ever carded me, so
Dun, dun.
I still had my ID on me, though. Like, you never know.
Just in case you get murdered and you need to be identified.
Yeah. Or, if they steal my wallet, they can come to my home address later and kill me.
But then you show them your shit pants.
Yeah. Shorts.
All right, shorts.
I hold on to those just in case someone tries to rob me.
They're still not washed.
Yeah.
What'd you do instead?
Yes. Well, yeah. So instead, we were hanging out. I can't remember what the park was called. But it was a kind of smaller park. It's near the Comedy Cellar. I don't know. It's like a tourist spot. You know that big archway?
Washington Square Park?
Yeah, I think it was Washington Square Park. So we were like hanging out there, and then we went out to eat or whatever, and then we were hanging out there again. And like it was at night, and we were like sitting at a park bench, and we were talking, and like we were actually like talking about like some pretty serious stuff about like us and whatnot, and then people. It was like a comedy sketch, basically. Like people kept on coming by while like we were having this really heartfelt conversation, and like people would come by and be like, "Hey, I want to perform for you. I'm a whatever artist, blah 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 blah," and I'd be like, "No thanks. Like we're in the middle of something. Thank you." And then like someone come along and is like, "We're accepting donations for blah 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 blah." I'm like, "We're talking. Thank you."
You're like, accept this, and you grab your crotch.
Yeah. Hey, accept this. Meanwhile, all these people are sketchy as hell. Like, I'm sure it wasn't donations they were accepting. So like all that's happening, and then all of a sudden, like you just see like rats scurrying everywhere too. And I'm just like, this place fucking sucks, dude. God damn. Like, it's just impossible to have conversation. And then like people started like really shifty people started walking by real slow, like, and I'm like, so now I'm like trying to have a conversation, but I'm also on guard the whole time.
You just have your knife
and it's
out.
just out of my pocket. And it's like, man, I fucking hate this place.
The amount of people that come up to you. See, this is where I would say to you, this is where you need to start putting on headphones. I mean, you were with this girl, so obviously you know for that. But
right.
Just
the whole point was that I was having a conversation, and like it's really annoying how people are so used to coming up to people that it's just like they'll keep on interrupting me. And that's the worst thing, because like if someone comes up to me and I'm not doing anything and they just say something like that, it's like it's whatever. I'm still gonna say like no thank you, whatever, but like it's not a problem. But like if I'm in the middle of a conversation and you can obviously see that, why the fuck are you interrupting me? Like,
yeah, it's a weird thing, especially when for people who are trying to get petitions signed or whatever.
Right.
Like I have my headphones in. Don't stop me. But I saw one guy trying to get a petition signed, and then he didn't stop me. But I crossed the street and go the other way, and this other guy did stop me. And I'm like, oh, I talked to that guy already. And they're like, okay, cool.
Classic deception.
There's also another guy, he wanted donations for something. And I'm just like, yeah, it was my first year there, so I gave him money. I gave
Classic
him like
mistake.
$1, $2. And then thing he says there, all right, I see you hiding the bigger money there. I'm like, dude, really?
that makes me just want to punch you in the fucking face. Not you, like him.
Yeah.
If like someone says that shit, like, because people have said like similar shit to me, and it's like, dude, like, be thankful that I'm even giving you the time of day, man. I don't owe you shit.
Yeah, it was a complete attitude shift for me, because like I was first time in a big city like that, walking around like, ooh, sights, ooh, people, like, oh, these people are talking to people, and I actually would stop for people if they stop.
Yeah.
And then complete shift for like third year in college. I'm walking to the train. This wasn't New York, this was Newark. I'm walking to the train, and anytime I walk to the train in Newark, I don't have my headphones plugged in, and I look down, because I don't want to start shit, or if I'm wearing headphones.
I want to be situationally unaware, so I look at the ground.
This was at daytime,
right?
So looking down was more about not giving people looks by accident.
Is that something you're concerned about?
It's just something that happens, but I was completely justified in doing that because of what happened next. Because I'm walking and I'm looking down, and I look up every once in a while just to make sure I'm going the right way, which sounds really dumb to say out loud. But I look up, I'm like, okay, I'm going the right way, and I pass this older gentleman, and then like we pass, and like 5 seconds go by, and then I just hear him go, "You got a fucking problem with me?" And I'm like, no problem.
So he was already behind you at that point?
He was already behind me at this point.
See, when I hear something like that, I just keep walking, dude.
Oh, yeah. Well, I felt like I had to diffuse the situation. Plus, there were cars around, so I felt like if he does something, there are not victims, witnesses.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're all going to stop and help.
Right? But he's like, "You got a fucking problem?" I'm like, "No, I'm just trying to go to the train. Sorry if I looked at you the wrong way, but I'm just looking up so I can see where I'm going." And
damn, you gave him a whole explanation.
Yeah, it calmed him down. Once
you're using some big words, college boy. What's a train?
At some point, he asked me what I studied. Cause he's like, okay. You go to college here? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh,
that's a classic question.
Yeah. What are you studying?
All these people ask.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm studying this. Oh, he's like, oh, okay. And then we just kind of went our separate ways. It's really
that's
weird.
So bizarre.
Yeah, really bizarre.
That is the worst, though, when people... I mean, that case was a little different because he's starting real aggressive for no reason.
Yeah, because I looked at him. See, like, I looked up just as he happened to be walking past me, and he thought I was giving him a look.
Probably gave him a little sneer. You looked up and you were, like, immediately repulsed. Yeah, it's like that... Like, when people try to interact with you, but then they're also asking you questions, that's, like, really annoying, because it's combining... like small talk with people I know with this stranger just taking up my time.
Yeah. There was
that's my least favorite thing.
There was one guy who genuinely kind of freaked me out a little. So I'm walking. I get out of Penn, New York, and I'm walking, and this guy just like comes out, and he starts like making gun noises and pointing at my chest because I'm wearing a Captain America shirt and has a shield on it.
Uh-huh.
And then he's like, "Does that stop bullets?" I just say to him, "What, Captain America?"
I hope
shield?
so.
And then he just says nothing and walks away.
He doesn't even know what Captain America is.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? He was like a 50-something guy, kind of small. It was just so bizarre.
People are really fucking strange around here. And the problem is, like, you never know if, like, they're just crazy and harmless.
Yeah.
Or, like, if they're crazy and also dangerous.
Yeah.
I was walking home a few months ago or something. And I was just walking, and I think I told you about this. I hope I didn't bring it up on the podcast before. I don't think I did.
We're just
but
telling
like,
stories we've all said on the podcast.
yeah, right. It's just a repeat. It's like a filler episode in the anime.
Yeah.
But so I'm just walking and I see this dude, and he's looking like a little sketch. Like he's looking kind of like nervous. He's looking around. He's like this tall, skinny dude, and he's wearing like all black. He's like all covered up. I'm like, whatever. Like, you go by so many people that's just like, I just kind of let my guard down all the time, which I probably shouldn't. But I'm just like, whatever. I'm just walking, and so I'm walking by, and I'm like, we're like a foot apart now because I'm walking one way, he's walking the other way on this like thin sidewalk, and all of a sudden, like he like lets out this like whoop,
There
and
it
then
is.
yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. It was just like this loud sound, and he like jabbed his hand towards my face, but like he didn't touch my face. He just did that and then kept walking, and I was just like so taken aback. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I was like, damn, like, see, that dude was crazy, but like, if he was crazy and dangerous, like he could have just fucking stabbed me in the neck.
It's true. So
I was
actually,
just like, what the fuck?
he's actually a good guy.
Yeah, he was he's training me to become a better person. But that same guy, I saw him again, and I was basically walking in the same area, and then so I see him. I don't exactly know if it's him because it's like far away, but I see this tall, skinny dude like wearing all black, whatever. And so this time it's like more towards a gas station, so I make like a wider berth, and I'm sort of walking through the gas station, so we're a bit farther apart because I don't want to play with that shit again. And then we're walking by, and he's maybe like 15 feet away from me or whatever. We're walking opposite directions, and so he points his fingers like a gun at my head and goes, and I'm like, what the fuck is up with this guy?
Yeah, that's unsettling.
Yeah, it's like, meanwhile, I've never seen this fucking person before in my life outside of him jabbing a hand in my face. And like, I mean, those two circumstances lead me to believe that this person is probably just like mentally unstable. And maybe it is just like, maybe it is just some sort of weird tick they have where like they do weird shit.
Tourette's.
When people walk by. Yeah. I mean, it honestly, when the first time when he did like the jabbing movement, it reminded me of Tourette's.
Okay.
A bit of an aggressive case of Tourette's, but you know. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck it was. I haven't seen him since, thankfully, but it's just like,
Maybe he finger gunned himself.
maybe he finger banged himself.
There are two other instances I can think of. One is I was with a mutual friend of ours, and we're walking down. I think we had just gotten sushi, so I think you know who it is. We just got sushi. We're walking down.
Probably Asian.
We'll cut that out. We're walking down, and then we see a, like, I can't remember if he was a Latino guy or a black guy, but they were digging through the trash. And then this guy is having a cigarette. The guy having a cigarette is closer to us. He's outside his apartment building smoking.
Yeah.
And like the image I have of him now is for Game of Thrones fans, it's the guy who kind of looks like Tormund, sort of ginger, big beard. He's smoking, and then he sees the guy going through the trash, and then I think he says this because he sees us walking. He just wants to say something to get a rise out of someone, to get a reaction maybe.
Yeah.
And he just says, "This is why I'm fucking voting for Trump."
You serious?
Yeah. And then as me and my friend are walking away, we both just burst out laughing. Like, what the fuck was that?
Dude, people are so fucking strange.
I'm like, what?
Like, tell me how, like, this person is digging through the trash, and yet you've somehow made yourself less classy than them.
Yeah, it was just the strangest thing. Like, I don't think Trump had.
One of Trump's promises wasn't to keep people from going through the trash. Like,
yeah. I don't think he was elected at the time. I think he was still a candidate.
Right, so it's probably like 2015 or 2016 or something.
I think so.
Like,
it was just so strange. And then the second thing that happened was I used to hang out with a bunch of people. We used to like go to the benches on campus, on the dorms, and we just sort of sit and talk and smoke. And then this homeless dude, and you'll know the guy I'm talking about. It's the guy that went up to us and just went, "Ladies and gentlemen." And then he just pauses for like 20 seconds. I don't know why we didn't just move there and then.
Yeah, right. Like, this guy. It's interesting when people start like expecting something out of the exchange. Like, they don't even have to say anything. They're just like, "Ladies and gentlemen."
Ladies and gentlemen.
It's like something you.
Yeah, fucking what, dude?
It's like when you're a rapper and you're like, you already know who the fuck it is.
He goes, "Ladies and gentlemen," like, and we just go, Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide.
Now, yeah, it's like, oh, his reputation precedes him.
Yeah. Anyway, we're at this table, we're just chilling, and my friends, they all like to, what's the word? When you're in a circle and everyone does freestyle rap, cypher.
It's a bit too urban for me, right? I don't know.
I think that's a fair. But I you know, my friends and freshmen and
this is why I'm voting for Trump.
They love doing that. So I would just take it all in. They're like, "You want to try?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'll listen." But that same guy came by, and he's like, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I need like $2 more for my train ticket home," which is always the line he used.
People always trying to catch trains or buses.
Yeah. But one of my friends, he's very friendly, so he's like, "Man, I don't have any money, but you can come sit with us." And then he's like, "Okay." And he sits with them, and then he wants to join the freestyle rap.
Okay.
And it's his turn, and my friends are giving him a beat. And then he's just you ever seen that video of that guy with the book on that Good Morning Georgia show or something, and he's trying to do freestyle?
Where he just like, he's not trying to do freestyle, he's trying to talk about his book.
But then she asks him to do something from his book, and he's like, "Can I freestyle?"
Oh, does he ask that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
I'll do freestyle. Oh, she's like, "Oh, you want to recite something?" And he's like, "Yeah, from your book." He's like, "Nah, I'm freestyle." And then and he just goes.
He just looks at the camera.
The times are changing. The times are changing. He just does that over and over. Basically, that's what this guy did. And he just couldn't come up with anything. And then he's just like, "Give me a second, gentlemen." And then more time passes and he can't come up with anything, and then he just thanks us for the time, and then kind of just leaves.
Fucking embarrassed the man. That's the best way to get rid of people coming up to you all the time, is just ask them to freestyle rap.
Yeah, I'll give you money to just freestyle rap. Do you remember? Now we're just hating on homeless people, but do you remember?
You don't know they're homeless.
True. Actually, that guy, I think.
But I know that I hate them.
Remember that kid who used to always ask for bus money?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even know if he was a kid, but he always put on an innocent voice whenever he.
Yeah, he had that weirdly young voice.
Yeah.
And I remember his front tooth is chipped.
Yeah, he had that weirdly young voice. We used to always ask for money, and then people would always say like, "Yeah, we just saw him at the pizza place eating a full bowl of pasta, and pasta at that place was like what, $10 to $12."
Yeah, fuck him, dude. Why is this homeless dude eating? I don't think he's homeless though.
No, I think.
I don't know. I still see him. I still see him around.
Yeah. I'm sure I told you I was on the phone with a friend, And this guy, at this point, I've seen him on campus so much.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to deal with him. Also, I was running late to pick up the food from that Italian place. They were about to close, so I'm like, I gotta go. And I was on the phone with a friend, and he just goes, "Excuse me, sir," and I just politely put my hand up, like I'm like on the phone, can't talk right now. And then I walk away, and I just hear him go, "Ignorant."
Voice change, ignorant. He's like, you fool.
He becomes an anime boss.
Yeah, you will pay for your ignorance. No, but yeah, people switch real quick from being real polite to just being like, oh yeah, I can't remember if I even told you about that, but like a few months ago maybe, sometime during the winter, I can't remember, but I was leaving work to go get food for lunch, and so I'm walking out, and there's a bunch of people around, whatever, and then so I'm walking, and this guy, you can sort of see like people making eye contact with you before you get close. And so it's like, okay, what does this person want from me? So I'm already like a little bit, And so I'm walking, and he walks up to me. He's like, oh, he starts doing like the bus or train thing again. I've never seen this guy, but he's basically giving me the same story. And, I just tell him like, sorry, man, I don't have any cash. Which I think was a lie this time. But, I mean, if people are willing to lie, I'm perfectly willing to lie too.
Yeah.
So I just tell him, sorry, man, I don't have any cash. And like, or at least I try to never be like, no, fuck off. Like I'm not trying to be like a jerk about it. So I usually say like, oh, sorry, I just don't have anything.
Yeah.
I don't say it like that. Oh, sorry.
Ignorant.
Yeah. Ignorance. You sorry fool.
Dude,
his eye just starts glowing.
I don't imagine eyes glowing. I imagine when they wear a hat and you can't really see the top of their eyes.
Oh yeah.
And then you hear that loud ching.
And he just smiles on one side of his mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Fool.
Your ignorance will be the end of you.
Yeah. So that'd at least be interesting than like more interesting than people just making backhanded comments.
Right.
If you had to fight them to the death after you dishonor them. But so I just tell him like, oh, sorry, man, I don't have any cash. And like right away he switches and he's like, well, you wouldn't have given me any anyway. You wouldn't want to help a black man. He didn't say black man, mind you, but I'm not going to say it. He's like, you wouldn't help a black man anyway. Yeah. And I'm like still in work mode because like I'm still at work. I'm just leaving to get lunch. And I'm like, I hear him say that. I'm just like, oh, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's quite an accusation. Like,
you just a switch just fucking flips for you. And you're just like, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't.
He would have been so shocked, like, oh my god,
this is MAGA country.
Oh god. Tell me how this is a perfect transition to Jussie Smollett.
Right. That's all fast though.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know why. I mean, it is just like a ploy to like make me want to reconsider and give him money, I guess, to prove that I'm not racist. But it's like, if it wasn't that you just wanted money, it's like, why would you take someone being rude and then also want to think that someone is also rude and racist?
Yeah. Like,
how does that benefit you? But I mean, the benefit is he's hoping that I'll change my mind and give him money, I guess, after he's insulted me.
Start feeling guilty. You're like, oh man, maybe he's right. Maybe I don't want to help.
Yeah, it's like,
jeez. You know what, buddy? Here's $50.
Every time I see a white homeless person, I'm like, you want a place to stay?
Psych.
But yeah, it was just because like he came up to me like very pleasant, like, so I was like, okay. I was just like, no, sorry, and yeah, he switched real quick.
Yeah, there was. I have had an opposite experience once. I was walking back to the dorms. I can't remember. It might have been after hanging out, or it might have been I just got back from the city and just came back to the dorm. But I'm crossing the street onto the dorm, and this guy, he's like really skinny, and he's walking in the middle of the street. So I think like he's definitely drunk or drugged out. And he says, "Hey man, you got a lighter?" I'm like, "Oh no, sorry, I don't." And then across the street, and he's just like, "Hey man, thanks for talking to me." Most people just ignore me. I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude, no problem." No worries,
no
man.
No problem. I didn't really talk to you, but
yeah, like it was really
hey,
weird.
No worries, man. Here's my number. But I do think about that because, like, I think it's very hard. At least it is for me. But like, it's very hard as a human being to like hear someone say something to you or have them ask a question and to just ignore them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's a skill in itself, and I think it's something you definitely develop more if you're living in like somewhere like New York.
It's easier when they have like a pamphlet in their hand, though.
Oh yeah, because then I just know what it's about. So I'm like, all right, you're telling this to everybody. But like, even when there's like a bunch of people around, if someone says something or asks me something, like I feel a compulsion to answer.
Yeah, same.
And you know, one of the things I think about is like, it's probably, I don't know how much truth there is to it, but like, I remember one time I was hearing about someone talk about homelessness. I can't really remember, and basically talking about how like a lot of times you'll see homeless people who sort of seem like a little spaced out, like they're not really fully there.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is just that, you know, if you try to talk to people so many times and like they just ignore you, like you start to feel sort of like you're not really there, you know? It's sort of like you don't exist. And so I've always sort of thought about that, and I'm like, man, that's really shitty.
Yeah, that's true.
But then at the same time, it's like also, well, if you're gonna call me a racist, I don't know if I want to talk to you.
Yeah, it's one of those classic, the bad ones ruin it for everyone else.
Those bad homeless people.
There was a. Do you remember there was a guy. Again, don't know if he was homeless, but I think someone did find out he was a patient at the hospital nearby. And he used to just come by on campus, and he was kind of a jittery guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always like yell random shit sometimes. But someone I knew one day just like started talking to him, and he definitely was a little not completely there, because he said he started telling him a story about how he was in a cupcake shop, and he was ordering some cupcakes, and suddenly the Power Rangers broke in and tore shit up.
Okay.
But
imagine if that did happen, though, and you just couldn't tell anybody.
Right? That would be weird.
Because no one would believe you.
Anyway, like this guy, the guy I knew, who just anytime he saw him, he'd talk to him. He's just like, "Hey, Nutty, what's up?"
Nutty.
Yeah, he'd call him Nutty. But the guy was like super friendly. Like he always had like a mean look whenever he walked around, but let him talk and he was fine.
It's a hard thing to sort of protect yourself from crazy people, but also not distance yourself from humanity.
Yeah.
Which is a much deeper topic, but yeah, it's hard because like a lot of these random people who you might not talk to are probably completely fine people, but it's just like, well, how much can can I dedicate to talking to these random people?
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like a lot of times I hardly even want to talk to people I know. So why would I want to talk to this person who's like fucking having Tourette's fits in a public park?
Yeah.
And interrupting my conversations.
Yeah, and also like these people, just the fact that they're located in cities like New York, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, that makes it harder.
Yeah, it doesn't really help them because.
Yeah, they should just move. What's wrong with them?
You know that's not what I'm saying.
If you're homeless, just buy a house.
Yeah, dude, I don't get it. What the fuck? If you need a train station, just steal a train ticket.
Yeah, if you need a train station, just build the train station.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've opened up Penn Station 3.
This is Mambo number 5. Dude, if he actually did do that, I think I probably would give him money.
Yeah, some homeless person, dance for me.
Dude, he just goes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo number 5, and he just starts making the music noise with his mouse. Bomp, bomp.
I'd be pretty put off, I'll be honest. I can't remember if I told you this one, but it's sort of like I've had kind of annoying experiences with stuff like this where like this one time I was coming into work and this guy comes up to me and he's saying like, oh, you know, could I bother you for like a cup of coffee or whatever? Like I'm going to he was going to one of like the local hospitals or something. I think he was saying that he had like an AA meeting or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. And you're just like, don't bother me.
I'm just like, fuck off, go drink, dude. You were better when you drank. I used to hang out with this guy actually.
Isn't that a line from some dramatic show or movie? I liked you better when you were drunk.
I'm sure it is.
It was in a Warrior, but anyway.
But yeah, so he's just like, oh, you know, could I get a cup of coffee, whatever. I'm like, I was actually going to this diner on my way in to get breakfast anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, every now and then, I'm sort of like, if it's something reasonable like that, I'll be like, yeah, whatever. Like, it really doesn't make a difference to me either way. So, on the off chance that it'll be something that they actually appreciate, then sure, why not? So we go in there, and so I order. I think I was getting like a bagel or something, and I also ordered a muffin for myself. I like ordered the bagel, and I was like, oh yeah, and a coffee for him. And so like I put my card out, and I say, oh, also I'll get a chocolate muffin. And then, you know, without asking and without any hesitation, he just goes, oh yeah, I'll get a muffin too. And I'm like, the fuck?
And you punched his lights out.
Yeah, it just knocked him out right there. And the police took me away. But like, I was so like taken aback that like I didn't even react to it.
Yeah.
And like the guy just like rang up the other muffin. And I'm just like, like, I was so subtly annoyed by that. I was just like, ugh. At that point, I wasn't about to be like, no, I'm not going to pay for your muffin. It was just like, all right, dude, like, have a good one. Like, you gamed me out of a muffin. It's just so weird. Like, I don't know.
Funny enough, I have something like that too.
Yeah.
What are those? Like it's a snack, and if you put it on your fingers, they kind of look like witch nails. Bugles. All right. So this guy came up to me, and he's like, "Excuse me, sir, can you help buy me some
bugles?" Really? That's that specific?
It was that specific. Turns out, I misheard him. Either I misheard him or there is a tobacco brand called Bugles.
So he wanted cigarettes.
He wanted it was you can roll your own cigarettes. It's just a tobacco.
Oh yeah, papers or whatever.
Yeah.
Or tobacco. Yeah.
I'm already at the counter. I said yes, and I felt like I couldn't back out at that point.
Oh yeah.
So I bought him fucking tobacco.
Oh my god.
Dude, I could have sworn. Let me just see. I just want to make sure if there is an actual Bugles tobacco.
I feel like I do recognize that as a brand I've seen.
Bugler. There's a Bugler. Bugles is the snack, but dude, I was just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation to be in.
Yeah,
like as soon as you volunteer your help to somebody,
yeah,
it just you just put in this really awkward situation.
Yeah,
which is why I don't do it.
Bugler.
That's the thing, especially with something that's so unnecessary like that. It's like, can you help me buy tobacco? It's like, nah, dude, just don't smoke. Like,
yeah, like
shit, man. If you can't buy tobacco, then getting tobacco is the last of your worries.
Yeah, and it's because it was just a thing like, all right, Bugles, snack, that's fine. You're hungry, sure.
It's very specific, but okay.
Yeah, it was oddly specific. Dude, I felt so dumb after that.
That is funny though.
Yeah.
You go to the counter with Bugles, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, I think the thing was, the guy at the counter, he had told the guy to get lost before already.
Oh yeah.
So and he was back with me, and I was buying him stuff, and then the guy gave me a look, and I think he saw the look in my eye when I realized I was buying something I didn't realize I was gonna get.
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, "Oh, your card was rejected. Sorry."
It was cash.
Oh, your money's no good here. Oh my god.
And I just leave ignorant.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't know. It's a weird world, man. Or I'm not quite comfortable completely disregarding other humans, but at the same time, most of the time I would like to.
Right. That's sort of the environment that where our campuses is kind of tells you to do, to kind of disregard anyone who's a stranger.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening in. This has been the Mebois Podcast. Glad to have you along. If you like what you hear,